All right, welcome to HoopsTracker. Jerry Howard, your host. HoopsTracker, your source for Colorado girls basketball. We want to welcome our special guest, former co-host Tony Speights. Tony, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Hey, doing great, man. We just finished having the second viewing period. The spring season has kind of officially been cut off, um, going in, and can't wait to talk because kids are blowing up. Offers are coming out left and right. Uh, really excited for a lot of the Colorado kids, and there's a couple surprises in there. But we'll get into it. Any thoughts before we jump in?
Um, a couple things. So I think the spring portion of club basketball is over.
Hmm.
And we have a lot of kids that did well. And we have some kids out there wanting a little bit more. And the cool part about the spring season of club basketball versus the summer season of club basketball, they have 6 weeks to get back into the gym. They'll spend the month of June with their high school, but they'll
Hmm.
have that opportunity to get back in the gym and correct some of the things that they need to correct, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if some kids feel they didn't play as well as they should, it's a great opportunity to have a good reflective look and
Hmm.
then get in the gym, work on those things, and then they get the next opportunity. So that's the cool part about kind of how that format lays out. Um,
Hmm.
and so more than anything, and not the kids that blew up this spring, it'll be the kids who blew up this summer, right? Who
That's right.
went and figured some things out and they have that next opportunity. So that will be fun to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids. You got 6 weeks to get better. So you're either going to put the work in and get it done. Um, I saw Jody put a post out today, something like, "Hey, if you're not putting in at least 20 hours a week, don't talk to anybody about college scholarships. You got to put the work in to get it." And that's true.
Well, and I think one of the things that everybody has the social media,
Hmm.
right? And I think a lot of the things with you see some of these coaches is input equals output, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think the longer that I do this, the longer that I coach, the longer that I watch basketball,
Hmm.
and talk to people about recruiting, and it's not about scoring, right?
Right.
It's about it's about being fundamentally sound. It's
Hmm.
about doing the right basketball things,
Right.
you know. And I think that sometimes parents forget those things.
Yeah, they do.
You don't have to stand out. You don't have to stand out in terms of oh, I got to get 30,
Hmm.
right? You can get eight points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. You can be a dog on defense,
Hmm.
right? And those things, you can be a great teammate, right? Now you got to have some skill with
Hmm.
that too. But those demonstrable skills, right, along with being that great teammate, it's a lot of things, a lot of levels to it, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes we look at scoring as the metric, and I don't know, with EYBL or Nike 24, 3SSB, I don't know. I think if you're averaging 14, 15 points a game, um, that should be enough.
Hmm. Yeah.
Y- y- You
Yeah.
know, that's considered a big night with how fast those games work. So,
Yeah.
um, that's one of those things that kids need to work on. Just work on being an overall good player.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, like we just said, right? This last weekend, big viewing period, teams Alabama, Omaha, Vegas, Bryan, Texas, Iowa, um, stuff like that. But big news, as we've been talking about, Mountain Vista names a new coach, Elijah Valdez. Don't know a whole lot about him, but we're going to find out some more about him, and we'll be seeing him at summer camps and things like that. But man, the offers coming in just in the last couple of days have been crazy, right? Bree, she got Texas. She got Texas before the right after the first viewing period, but Bree's already got offers from Stanford, UCLA, CU, South Carolina, UConn. I mean, she's got all the big time offers, but it's interesting. SMU comes in after recently, and then Arkansas just comes in just the other day. And but the kid that's really blowing up is Reese Gilpatrick. This young lady, only a freshman, she gets an invite to the USA basketball U16 trials this last week. She's got offers from Utah, UNLV, Texas A&M, all came after the first viewing period. Now, just in the last couple of days, she's got Stanford, Oklahoma, CSU, SMU. Um, she's blowing up, and I think she's peaking at the right time. Um, you got any thoughts on Reese? Because I mean, you've seen her play.
You know what? She's a good looking prospect, good looking kid. Her and her sister,
Hmm.
play up at Broomfield with Mike Kroll.
Yeah.
Um, and she's, her sister, it's funny, Reese, and it's cool. Um, her sister Paige, her older sister Paige, is carving out her own path too, and has some offers. She just recently got a Boise offer.
Yeah.
They're tough to deal with over there. Reese 6'3", 6'4", long, athletic, can she's really working on developing to be a three-level scorer because she can step outside and knock
Hmm.
down the three ball. Um, and she can work inside, for a kid like that, because she's young. You want to see her get a little stronger, right?
Right.
You want to see her develop ball skills, but man, she is a good player. Kind of the trajectory she's on today, she's gonna be one of the best players to come out of the state. We're starting to have some good players. She's gonna be the next in that line. I believe she's trying out this weekend for you. Was it U16?
Yeah, she got her and Sienna Williams got an invite for the USA U16 trials, and there's 36 kids on that list, and there's only 12 spots. So she's one of the 28s that got invited, and that's going to be fun.
Yeah, so so it's exciting, pretty exciting. You look at, I know Paige is on here. Pretty exciting for the Gilpatrick family, but Reese is solid, man. She's going to be a really good player. Good kid, good family.
Well, yeah, and you talked about Paige. I mean, Paige, big offers right after the first viewing period, just in the last couple of days. Boise State, UNLV. Top Mountain West programs. Paige is going to be a really nice college player. And then let's not forget, I mean, Peyton Jones is her stock continues to grow. She's one of the best shooters in the 3SSB circuit. I think she's like top five, not only in scoring, but in three-point shooting. Um, she got offers to Gonzaga, Kansas, Texas Tech, but just in the last few days, Oklahoma State, Boston College, Florida, SEC, ACC, Big 12. Plus, she's got offers from Colorado, I think Utah, and a handful of others. And then, we don't have all the offers listed here for Kinley Ass, but Kinley, I mean, these players right here, Kinley, Peyton, Paige, and Bree, all top in the 2026 class. And all of these young ladies are getting huge offers, performing extremely well, playing extremely well. And, Kinley Asp, she gets her steals, she gets her assists, she gets her points, and those offers are still coming. She's not hitting 20 points a game or whatever, but she can if she needs to, but she doesn't need to on that hardwood team. And I like what you talked about earlier about you don't have to be focused on just scoring in order to get those offers because she's proving that's how you do it.
Well, kind of the thing that you talked about, we talked about a little earlier, is the one thing these kids all have in common is they live in the gym,
That's right.
right? And so I know you said that Jody referenced you need to be putting 20 hours a week in the gym, and these are kids that meet that mark, right? They get their time in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
and then it translates onto the floor. So, lean on your training, right? Trust the process, trust your training.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think. I think especially in today's world of college Division I basketball where there's NIL money,
Mm-hmm.
I think that to get Division I offers to come in on the girl side and play and to get a Division I offer is pretty good. I think there's more offers on the girl side for that than on the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's not like they're giving money away for kids who are just part-time players,
That's right.
right? And
That's
these
right.
kids are full-time players and they're the cool part is when you see them during the regular high school basketball season and the club basketball season, they're able to shine in both arenas, right? And
Yeah,
so that's so it's a credit to their high school coaches, a credit to their club coaches, credit to them mostly because they're willing to give up and sacrifice to get in the gym.
absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that I really like about all of these kids is they're committed gym rats. They're quality young women on and off the court. They play the game the way it's supposed to be played. It's fun to watch them. Now, let's talk about whose stock is rising because there's more, right? I mean, one of the young ladies that's been really coming out of her own, I think, is Aaliyah Broadus at Cherokee Trail. Plays for the Hoopsters. Man, she looked good in Dallas. She looked good in Las Vegas. Her team goes 3-1. And then also on that team is Juliet Slater, also on the Hoopsters, but a quality point guard out of Erie. Um, Her game is really growing. And then, you got Madison Bethel at Northfield, who's playing for True Colorado. She's This young lady is special and, still has a lot of work to do, but she's got the tools, she's got everything and putting it all together. And then, you know, Chloe Parker at Riverdale Ridge, also playing on that Jason Kidd team with Bree and Kyla Hollier. Um, she's really starting to develop. It's nice to see her start to shoot a little bit more, start to be that point guard leader that, everybody expects her to be, and she's growing into that role.
Right. And I see it looking at this list as well. Aaliyah Brodus, good, great kid. And she, had a solid first opening weekend. I know in Dallas. I watched those games.
Hmm.
Um, and I think her time is coming, right? I think her time, and this summer she's going to be a senior, obviously, but her time is coming.
Hmm.
She's had a strong spring, and I expect that to continue. Her group will get out here and new look Cherokee Trail over there. I
Hmm.
think with Chloe Kane at the point.
Hmm.
And so I think she's going to get a chance to really shine in her high school. But I expect her to go and work hard and then come out in the second session of club basketball in July. Um,
Right.
so there's a team out there for. I think she'll be okay. Julia Slater just solid, right?
Yep.
There's a kid that maybe isn't spectacular, but is as solid as they come, right?
Hmm.
Fundamentally sound, tough, can knock down shots, good teammate.
Hmm.
And so good kid, right? Madison over there at Northfield leads that true group.
Hmm.
Super athletic. I like how Coach Joshua was doing over there. They want to get up and down the floor and they want to run. I think that
Hmm.
translates to who Maddie is.
Hmm.
One, she's a super defender. She's a super on-ball defender.
Right.
Um, and offensively they want to get up and go. So that group, I don't know if they've quite broken through yet, because it's a new club, and they're
Yeah.
figuring some things out. But they've been in a lot of ball games, right? That's the thing. If they can figure some things out over there, they could have a good summer, But like I said,
Hmm.
they're not getting blown out. People aren't taking them out back and doing them wrong. Uh,
Right.
and so I think they have an opportunity, you know, once they figure some things out to have a really good July. And Chloe Steady Eddie, Chloe
Hmm.
Parker, she's a kid that is solid, who has the tools to be spectacular, and I would love to see Chloe just go for broke. I know she plays a little overshadowed on that Jason Kidd team. but I don't think talent wise that she should take a backseat to anybody on that team. Yeah.
Right,
I'd love to see that kid throw caution to the wind and just flat go get it because I think she has that talent in her,
right.
so but she's going to get plenty of opportunities to do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think there's a whole lot more opportunity for her, and plus the high school season, she's I think she's priming herself, and you don't know, they always talk about don't peak too early, and so that'll be good. Um, let's see who else we got because we just talked about Chloe Kane, incoming freshman, gets her first Division I offer from University of San Diego. Congratulations. I've been watching this young lady um, all spring, and man, is she good. She is so good. She's really tearing it up for that Hoopsters U16 team. And she's just on another level with where she's at. And, I know, Santana continuously crushing it on that top team. Had a great outing in Dallas, had another great outing in Las Vegas. More offers coming. Sydney Martin playing well. They went to Houston this last weekend. I believe their team split at 2-2. And then London Taylor, she's really been opening a lot of eyes. Being on that True Colorado team, you have a lot of athletes. You have girls like Madison, London, Paris, Faith Nelson, and they are just running the table. And then Addison Greenlee, this young lady, she's really performing well for the Hoopsters on that U15 team. And then LaPortia Allen, she's also on that true team. She's one of their post players. And, she's in the paint, banging, getting those rebounds. So yeah, I mean these young ladies, you know, not in the 26 class. All of them are either in the 27 or 28 class or 29 class. But man, these people are making a very good impact and making a good name for themselves at the right time.
Sure. And Chloe Kane, and I know a lot of people might not have seen her. There's a lot of people that know her that not seen her. She's special.
Hmm.
Um, she's special and she's going to make an impact. She's going to make an impact right away. I know that she had a really good. They played a tournament here 2 weeks ago. I
Hmm.
know she had a really good game um, a couple of weeks ago, but she's playing down, which as a young kid is okay, right? I
Hmm.
think that there's a rush sometimes in club world. We got to play up. We got to play at the top. How about
Right.
you go and dominate the level that you're supposed to, right?
Right.
And, and,
Absolutely.
and play like competition so she doesn't get overwhelmed mentally, right? And that she's able to grow. But
Hmm.
she's special. I mean, you
Hmm.
look at like Santana, she's special too. Like, and I'm glad for that kid. She's had a really good fall, or excuse me, really good first part of spring.
Hmm.
Um, and I think she's a multi-sport kid now that soccer's over. I think for the spring she can turn her full-time attention to basketball a little bit and give that all because she's gonna heat up this summer too in terms of schools looking at her and offering. I know some are
Hmm.
coming
Yeah.
her way. I think, probably you hear it in the next few days, that some stuff will be coming her way. And you just look at the other list with the Martin kid and London, the Greenlee kid and the Portia. Um, like I said, the cool part is getting to coach in Colorado, getting to watch talent in Colorado is looking at these kids and
Hmm.
watching them and watching their teams. You look at the Erie's, a team worth watching,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
so, you look at Northfield, a whole lot of talent there,
Hmm.
right? Can they? I thought that, um, I thought that they got a tough draw in the state tournament, right?
Yeah.
Coming making that move from 4A. But I think that a lot of learning lessons happened last year. And so they're going to be a fun group to watch. Right. I get to play them, so they'll be a fun group to coach against.
Hmm.
and so they're just, really good athletes doing good things. So these kids are out there on the circuit once again, but another group of kids putting in work.
Yeah, yeah, and the work's paying off. I mean, they're doing some things, but let's talk about some of the games last weekend because a lot of these teams are making a huge impact. Um, you know, we can start off with the Hoopsters. Their 17s team go 3-1. They have one loss in Las Vegas. They have one loss in Dallas. They are prime. Last year they made it to the Select 24 Final Four. They have a really good mix of players, and we've already talked about at least four or five of them, you know. But this team is really special. Their 16s team, the one that Chloe Kane is playing on, they went 2-2, um, met up with some competition, but that 16s team is fairly young. They've got some players like Ari Boyd, Devin Davenport, who plays for you. And Devin is a player that's really impressed me this spring. She's really coming out and being strong in the paint, can run the floor, can shoot it. Her and Chloe Kane seem to be the top two players on that U16 team. And then, yeah, and then Mountain West. The Mountain West teams, Nike, the 17U team went 1-4, but they had some tough games. I mean, they had to play Missouri, Kansas, All Iowa Attack, Team Prime, but those weren't blowouts. Those were close games, and they just came up just short. But their 16U team that has Cortland Yowsey and Jaya White from Colorado, they went 2-2 or 3-2. They played really well, but everybody's talking about this Mountain West 15U team with Kennedy Tolliver, Kimmy Banks, Jada Rogers. They go 5-0. They're looking really good. They're one of the top 15U teams in that Nike circuit. I mean, you've seen some of these guys play, Tony. I mean, what's your thought on that team? Because they're loaded.
That so the Nike, that Nike group, that's Greg Bolding's group over there, the Mount West Premier. Um, that it's a solid program. He does a good
Mhm.
job. They were runners up last year,
Yeah.
right, in EYBL. And so first of all, they're going to get good coaching.
Hmm.
Like you said, that 17U team, sometimes we focus on winning and losing versus playing competition.
Hmm.
Right. And I think, like if you look at Grit in Las Vegas, right, they lost 3 games by about 12 points.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you think about it in just competition and we focus on that, some of that is just making plays at specific times. Is it like
Right.
we went out there and got rolled by 40, right?
Right.
That's a different ball club. We went out and got beat by 4. That's two
Hmm.
plays. Right. And so we coach that. Can we make 2 plays here? Can we make a play here? Can we do this? So those are some you can coach yourself out of that situation.
Right.
So there's that Karen Jaraki group, right? She has that 15U
Hmm.
group,
Yeah.
uh, that group. And I'm not sure if she coaches that one. I think she coaches
She
the
doesn't.
she
Yeah.
doesn't she coaches which group does she coach?
She coaches that top 17 EYCL team, the
Okay.
with Brittany Booker and Naya Dumas from Highlands Ranch, which
Yeah.
is a pretty good team.
They're a pretty good team. Brittany Booker's having a great summer.
She is.
Oh, by the way, I know that I talked to her coach. I talked to her high school coach, and she's getting some calls. So they're doing a good job. I'm thinking of the 15U team. I know those Highlands Ranch kids are on there
Yeah.
that won five. That's 5-0. That's a pretty talented team. Um,
Yeah.
that's a pretty talented team. So, like I said, that's a good group. I also I know something I know on our sheet we have the Spellman sisters.
Yeah.
Uh,
They're playing for MoCan.
they're playing for Mocan, and so they were 3-2 this weekend. Getting good run, getting exposure. Doing a little different, not playing for some of the local clubs, but kind of doing their own thing, which is I think it's kind of cool. right? Get to see some different competition. So, but
Well,
they're
it's
out
I think it's
there.
good. I think it's good for Kennedy and Kiara to go play outside where a lot of people don't know who they are, and they're actually playing really well. They're not on the EYBL team, they're on the EYCL team for the 17U, but they're the best players on that team. I mean, they're shooting really well. They're getting up and down the court. They're playing great defense. Um, this BC Denver team, their 17U team did okay, but their 16U team with Sydney Martin, they actually played they did pretty well. They went down, they went 2-2 in Texas. They were in Houston at Clash of the Clubs. But the team on BC Denver that I want to talk about is Enoch Miller's team because that U14 team, they went 5-0 there. They played really well in the first viewing period. They played really well last weekend before going out on that Mother's Day weekend. They are they've got some talent on that team. I know Enoch's daughter's on that team. You got JoJo Martin, but that team is loaded with a lot of talent. So it's fun to watch BC Denver. And the coaches over there, Coach Jarrell and Coach Chris, doing a great job um, really doing that. Now, you already talked about grit. B&B, they didn't go out. They stayed and played in the local USJN tournament that had some coaches there, and they won. The 17U team won their division, and congratulations to Amy Ball and those players for staying local. Still had some college coaches viewing them, but um, they played really well, and they ended up winning that division. And then True Colorado, they were actually in Vegas with the Hoopsters and Grit, and they go 2-2. They're still, like you said, new club. Coach Joshua is taking time getting those girls to play the kind of basketball that Coach Joshua likes to play, and get them playing together. And so it's a really good experience for them. And then I don't want to leave out, but you know, Bree Crittenden, Kyla Hollier, Chloe Parker on that Jason Kidd team, they go 3-1. The one game they lost, Bree, Bree got in foul trouble and they had to sit her. And that's when things kind of, went a little downhill for them. But this team is prime. They're looking really good. And Bree just continues to go against ranked players, everybody, and still is putting in, putting in the time, putting in the effort, and still showing why she's one of the top 10 players in the country.
So I've got a chance to watch Kid play. And fun group, a lot of players, right? You get that Jason Kidd thing, but I think you know, I watched him play. I watched him play specifically in Dallas. I didn't have an opportunity this week to watch him in Vegas.
Right.
Um, and I know they went 3-1, got beat up the one game, pretty good. But it's fun to see our kids, Chloe Parker, Kyla Hollier, um, on that circuit, right? And play that competition. Um, and I don't want to be remiss. I don't want to be remiss. I know um, those kids came from Colorado lockdown. And I know that Terry's retooled over there and has that group doing some things.
Right.
Um, has Grace Hall over there kind of leading the way, and so they're doing things. I believe they're on the Puma circuit.
Yeah. Yeah. Them and Hard to Guard are on the
Hard to
Puma
guard.
circuit. And that Puma circuit is new this year for the girls. So
So, because I also look at our list, and we have a couple of new teams. Team Con is new, and Team Dom is new. Um,
yeah,
and I know
everywhere. Yeah.
Ro Dominguez, shout out to her. She's working on the girl side, and um, the more work they put in, they'll start to make some inroads on the girl
Mhm.
side, right? Um,
Right.
And so, like I said, they're just new and there's growing pains when you're new. People want to see what you're about, and what you're doing. But those kids are out there, those kids are out there grinding, right? Those kids
Right.
are out there learning every day. And I know, I know Rose, a gym rat, she stays in the gym. So
Mhm.
they'll get that thing going and it's just another another club in the clubs of Colorado, right?
Well, there's quite a few clubs out there. Um, there's a couple players I definitely want to recognize because Ava Chang and Mackenzie Jones are playing for the Utah Lady Prospects out in Utah, and that's an Adidas Circuit team. Ava Chang's team goes 4-0 this weekend. And just in the last couple of days, she gets an offer from Yale and Arizona State, which is huge. And, some of the recruiters at the Adidas circuit recognized her as one of the top players in the tournament this last weekend, which is a huge shout out. And then Mackenzie Jones is playing on that 17U team. They go 3-1, and Mackenzie's playing alongside Nation Williams, who's one of the top players in the 27 class. And what's interesting is, she's playing really well. She's getting her time and stuff like that. Um, it's just fun to see some of these players and like Ava Chang, she blew up, right? I mean, she was one of the key contributors on that state championship team. They make Grandview get there and not only get there, but win it. And then now she's just blowing up on the circuit. It's exciting.
Ava Chang's a player, man. That kid, 5'10", she's just crafty, right? She can
Hmm.
step out and shoot the three. She can get to the rim. Hard worker, footwork. Another kid that's a gym rat. Uh,
Right.
I love how she plays. You
Yeah.
know, really fun. It was really fun watching them when they made their run.
Hmm.
Easy to focus on Sienna, but watching Ava Chang, it revolves around, like I said, it revolves around Sienna, but Ava Chang makes that thing go.
She does, and she's doing a great job. And I don't like leaving people out, but like, on this grit team, on their top select 40 team, um, that they're playing, they've got a lot of good quality players on that team. But there's two players that have been standing out to me. Shay Vigil has been just crushing it, hitting her shots, playing great defense. And then Ellie Daniels from Thunder Ridge. Oh, wow. She is really starting to come along and come into her own. She's got a long ways to go, but she's doing really well. And these are just some kids that have stood out on each of these teams. And just want to make sure we point that out.
Oh, for sure. And I think Ellie Daniels she's poised. I think she's going to be a senior. She's going to be a senior this year.
Yep, she's gonna be a senior.
Going to be a senior this year, so she's poised to kind of break out for Shauna's group over there at Thunder Ridge. I know her
Hmm.
dad. I know her dad's an assistant coach over there.
Hmm.
Good guy. Dave's a good guy, and so I know she's trained the right way. I know he has her in the gym,
Hmm.
but good kid, right? Good kid and great. And that's the awesome part is to see these kids coming. They grow up a little
Yeah.
bit, a little stronger,
Hmm.
and then all that work shows up on the back end of that, right? When they
Yeah.
not necessarily a late bloomer, but growing the way you should grow,
Hmm.
you know.
Exactly.
And so it's good. It's good to see that, right? We have a lot of players like that. Like I said, once again, what's the common denominator? A bunch of kids that like to be in the gym,
Yeah.
and not part-time kids. And so um that's the fun. Like I said, the fun part of club is watching these teams and watching them play,
Hmm.
right? Watching these teams and watching them play. And then seeing them get out on the club circuit when it's not kids that we know, kids going against kids that we know, but
Right.
different states, different circumstances, right? Be it
Hmm.
Vegas, be it Dallas, Bryan, Texas, Iowa,
Hmm.
South Carolina, kids I know been in Phoenix. I've had some of my kids, one of my kids was in Phoenix a couple weeks back, right? And
Hmm.
then being on that circuit and seeing them play, like, oh my gosh, look at these guys,
Hmm.
do their thing. And so it's good to see these kids do well. Makes me feel good
Yeah.
about our sport.
Oh, well, Tony, this has been awesome, but for our audience, like you guys got news, share it, man. Tag us, DM us. We'll make sure we get it on the show. Um, Tony, it's been fun, but like we've got 6 weeks. We got team camps coming up this summer. I know we've got the live period, so you've got the Colorado Live Showcase. You got a lot of teams going down to Phoenix for Section 7 that same weekend. Um, I mean, a lot to do between now and July when the college coaches can be out watching you, and it'll be fun. I know we're going to be at, I know I'm going to be at almost all the team camps, trying to hit them all up and just see where everybody's at. And we've got some new coaches, and someone just DM me, and Harper, the former assistant coach at Metro State, just tagged and landed the head coaching job, I think at Kansas Wesleyan, but we'll check that out here in a second. So yeah, head coach at Kansas Wesleyan. That'll be fun. Congratulations to Harper. Um, we'll see we'll see how many Colorado kids she comes and recruits. So
She's a Colorado kid, got Colorado ties. Her mom coaches up north.
that's right. So she's
So,
got to come back and recruit.
you know, so she has to come back and see and come and take a look at our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's huge. But hey, this has been great. Everybody, thank you very much. Can't wait to watch. We'll be publishing our photos. We had people in Bryan, Texas. We had people Kansas City, Vegas. So we'll be putting out some footage, and congratulations to everybody, and especially all the ones that are getting offers. But keep doing the work.
Yep. Stay in the gym. Stay in the gym. Stay in the gym. It's really that simple.
All right, Tony. Good to have you, man.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.